Welcome back, everybody, to WLLV, the play station that plays all the kids. I'm your DJ, Timottee. I'm in the studio with Mr. AP as well. What's going on, everybody? It's AP in the building. Yes, Mr. AP, today is a special day. You was telling us before we came on that today is special. Tell us why. Yeah, today is special because today is Juneteenth, everybody. Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth, everybody out there. Mr. AP, when you said today was special, you ain't say nothing about Juneteenth. Why? Is that a problem? Oh, no, it's not a problem, but I'm trying to figure out why you saying Juneteenth and it's June 19th. You missed the 9, Mr. AP. You're supposed to put a 9 in there. No, it's Juneteenth, like the holiday, you know. Most black folks, especially in Texas, know about Juneteenth. Oh, yeah, I know all about June. I know all about Juneteenth. How about you tell the listeners what Juneteenth is and speak up so I can hear you. Okay. You have no idea what Juneteenth is. Will you just talk, Mr. AP? Just talk. All right. So Juneteenth today, it was considered. It was actually given federal holiday status here in the state of Texas and even nationwide because it was the day in which all the slaves were given notice that they were free. And I say given notice because just because someone tells you you're free, you're not necessarily free. Oh, you're talking about the Emancipation Proclamation. Why don't you just say that? Why are you saying Juneteenth if it's the Emancipation Proclamation? Because it's not the Emancipation Proclamation. When you said that's when everybody found out they was free, that was Lincoln did that. Ford Lincoln. No, it wasn't Ford. Okay. All right, let me see if I can explain this for you. But I know what it is. No, you don't. Stop talking and let me explain to you what's going on. Okay, so we listening, Mr. AP. All right, so 1863 Emancipation Proclamation, what you're talking about, Abraham Lincoln signed a law abolishing slavery. Yes, Mr. AP, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, that was 1863. What I'm talking about actually took place 2 years later in 1865. So if you understand that, Civil War was about slavery and President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation and it became official with the federal government that the slaves are to be free. Now, the thing is, you only free if you know you're free. And so word did not get out to a lot of the slaves in the South and especially Texas that they were even free. Now, mind you, this is before social media. This is before, any real mail system. This is before you can just look on the web and find out your status, so to speak. So for the slaves to know that they're free, the information had to come from somewhere. And those Southern masters who were looking at losing their economic base were not going to turn around and be like, hey, okay, actually, you guys are free. You don't have to work for me. That was not how it was going to happen. So unless somebody told them differently, they didn't know. And so what basically happened is the military had to go into the South and basically tell the slaves and the slave masters like, hey, these slaves are free. And this happened actually on June 13th, but it didn't become a federal holiday until June 19th. And so why don't they say June 19th then? Why are we calling it Juneteenth? It's a great question. So the reason it's called Juneteenth is because, like I said, the 13th is when that actually happened, but the 19th is when it actually got written into law. So if 13 through 19 has teen at the end of it. So Juneteenth. So it's supposed to represent those days in between it actually being acknowledged and it actually becoming law. So really you could celebrate over 6 days, anywhere in those 6 days or all 6 days is actually the point. So that's why they call it Juneteenth. Mr. AP, you just so deep. You don't look deep. Because sometimes I be looking at you, I was like, he can't be that deep, but obviously you is. Okay, bro. Okay, Miss. So you saying everybody came free, and then after that, everything was good, right? We was good, we was free, and we can go and do our own thing. Not necessarily. So, okay, All right, I'm going to uncover this because it's stuff you're not going to learn in your history books. And a lot of black people just don't even know about this. So let me help you out. Going back to what basically Abraham Lincoln signed the law was the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery. But the B clause of that same law says, with the exception of punishment for a crime. Because the South and even the North were using slavery as an economic base to build the United States, were very hesitant to let slavery just end without a substitute for the money and the work that was going to be lost. So they made up a law that says, okay, I can put you back in slavery if you commit a crime. And so the law that they made up was, if you probably heard this one called loitering. Have you heard of loitering? Oh, yes, Miss AP, I heard of loitering. I try to make sure I never loiter. I put all my trash in the bins, and I even recycle. I recycle cardboard and plastic. No, that's not what I'm talking about, bro. You said loitering. No, not you talking about littering, dude. You littering. I'm saying loitering. Two different things. Okay, Mr. AP, you sit down now because you're kind of intimidating right now. No, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Okay, so loitering basically is this. Loitering is you being somewhere and not doing nothing. Almost in definition is just hanging out. It's almost what loitering basically means. And they made this a crime because, let me go back to the slave masters telling their slaves, okay, you guys are free. But a part of the laws that were happening in a lot of states were you now must consider your slave master your employer and you're the employee, and the employer gets to determine your fair wage. So the employer get to tell you how much they want to pay you. Now, mind you, they ain't paying you nothing. You eating scraps, raping your women, raping your men, just basically oppressing everyone. And now you turn around and tell these same people, I have to pay these folk who I was mistreating that way. So imagine what you think they were considering a fair wage. It was probably nothing. Yeah, they pretty much paid them nothing or say they was going to pay nothing. So these same people who just found out they were free was still working for now their quote unquote employer and still not making any money. Still not in a position to do anything to better themselves. So what happened is a lot of the slaves would leave the plantations. They would just leave and go try to build a better life for themselves and for their family. They go try to find each other or whatever. Well, in the process of leaving one plantation to another or just, trying to find where they want to go, there'll be points in which they have to rest and stop, or, maybe they cross through towns and cities on their path. So that law I was talking about earlier called loitering says that you cannot be a free man but not be actively working or under the guise of someone, of your employer, which basically means there's a family of, say, 10 people. They'll walk from plantation A, and let's say they want to make their way up north. Well, they find you, 10, 15 miles away from the plantation that you quote unquote worked at. You were considered loitering, because you were out doing nothing under no one's supervision. So they could then arrest you, charge you with a crime. And since you're now being charged with a crime, guess what you can become now again? A slave. Yes, sir, a slave. So a lot of laws were made. Loitering still exists today in 2018, bro. You can walk around and see no loitering signs. That originated with slavery. You cannot be out. Black people cannot be out anywhere without under the guise or supervision or direction of their quote unquote employer, who was still AKA the master, who was supposed to pay them a fair wage that he determined in his own mind. So slavery was still even going on after then, wasn't it? Yeah, it was still happening. Thank God for the fact that what you got to understand is once the seed is planted in the minds of individuals, though, that they are free, it changes the course of a people. Mind you, slavery went on for like 400 years. So there were more people born in slavery than there were those who came as free men. So if generation after generation is born in slavery, everybody's taught to think like a slave. But when the thought comes in now, like, wait a minute, you guys are now free. It may take some time, but generations of people even following that are going to know that, hey, we are actually free. This situation sucks. We're still stuck here, but we're actually free. So it's going to spurn the likes of, those great people who follow. You got the Harriet Tubmans come out of that. Frederick Douglass come out of that. Martin Luther King and all those people who minds have been sparked by the fact that our people are free. We're able to come from that. In 2018, we're still fighting that battle. So, Mr. AP, let me ask you a question. So this has been going on for so long, Juneteenth and all. Why people just don't know this stuff? Like, why? I ain't gonna lie, Mr. AP, I didn't know. I didn't know it right now until you said something. I had no idea. I know you didn't, but I will tell you, it's not necessarily your fault. Our school systems were not set up to teach us our history. They were taught to teach us a history from the point of view of America and what America wanted you to know about your history. So I would challenge those who are listening to this, who are listening to anything as it relates to who you are, to dig deeper. If you're in school, dig deeper in these history books. If you are teaching your kids, teach your kids what Juneteenth is. You can look on the internet and Google the celebrations and stuff they did. You can start little. You don't have to be huge, but you can start somewhere with acknowledging what our people have been through. I want you to understand something. Really think about this. July 4th, 1777, your ancestors, still slaves. Your ancestors, beaten, tortured, kidnapped, being hanged, being burned, emasculated on July 4th, 1777. I want you to really think about that. Black folk would turn up for July 4th, 1777, but we didn't even get the word that we was free until June 19th or 13th, 1865. Almost 100 years later. But what's been passed on to generation? Oh, 4th of July. We hear nothing about Juneteenth. So I wanted to take the time today to really kind of flesh that out. If you got more questions for me, feel free to hit me up. If you know my social media, you can shoot at me directly. I'll be happy to dialogue with you as it relates to Juneteenth and any other thing on Black expression and African American experience. And I'm here for you all. Mr. AP, this is my show. What you over here putting plugs for the stuff you're doing? This is my show. I'm Timottee. This is my show. And if you want to talk to Mr. AP, yeah, you can call up here, I guess, if you got the numbers. But Mr. AP is my show. Don't be putting plugs. All right, Timothy. But anyway, y'all know what I'm saying, so feel free to reach out to me. And on that note, Timothy, you want to take it away? You don't tell me to take it. This is my show. I'm the one that determines if we've done, okay? So I'm going to determine it. Okay, bro? All right, determine it. Okay. Okay, yeah, we've done now. So we going to come back in a couple of days and have some more stuff for y'all. All right, y'all take it easy. Thank you for listening to WLMNOP.